The X-Men films fit into a different spectrum than other Marvel properties. They do not condition themselves in following a specific arc or tone. They can be single stories about popular characters like Wolverine and Logan, or period pieces like X-Men First Class. Each movie draws new creative possibilities to mold an adventure unlike the other. The huge appeal of X-Men are the diversity in stories and cast. By following another attempt at bridging a age-old Dark Phoenix storyline to fruition, the franchise has hit the brakes on what makes it special and forced a big stakes scope event on a cast not capable of selling the pathos of such a story. Dark Phoenix's stars are popular actresses who only grew more popular from films outside the X-Men franchise. Unlike Marvel, where characters are synonymous with their character personalities as their real-life personas, X-Men has popular actors via shows like Game of Thrones, Academy Awards, and more. The actors never really embody their characters, and for an actor that is a grave sin. The actors seem tired and bored of their film and their mundane mandate to facilitate sequels. Disney has acquired the rights back to utilizing X-Men characters, and the lack of enthusiasm and interest in the future shows for these actors waiting to be discontinued. The faults of the movie do not end with the lack of luster acting, but mostly because the stakes. You never feel that interested in the characters on screen. You're told to like Jean, who is possessed and infused with a cosmic entity while in space saving astronauts. Better elements of trying to cope with building rapport with humans after mass murder done in the prior Apocalypse film by Magneto are overlooked for melodrama about powerful MacGuffins, the Phoenix Force, causing headaches and aliens manipulating Jean into doing their bidding, with unearned attitudes on women and men being treated differently. Xavier is unfairly labeled as completely wrong in his attempt to quell the hardships for Jean in a good faith effort to protect a troubled child. We are given unfair comparisons of his unwillingness to go and battle along the X-Men, his wheelchair-bound body, and attempts to still help on the field say otherwise. Legwork is used to show he has some value in being seen as a hero, and we see him put through the paces of redemption, but most of the elements are hit and miss in terms of enduring character arcs. The main arc between Xavier and Charles is still as strong as ever, with them showing a bond of understanding and anger at each other, ways of keeping mutants safe. Xavier is a pacifist, while Charles has come to understand that and move to a more isolationist ideal. He stays separated from humanity on a government-given plot of land called Genosha. He only gets dragged into the mutant fight by flimsy revenge that soon gets overlooked once the plot needs the team to work together. In comparison, movies like Marvel's Captain America Civil War had two strong bonds broken. Iron Man and Captain America over heartfelt reasons that seemed irredeemable, yet you felt for the two and were wary of the impending threat without the two fighting together. The build-up is just not satisfying, nor is the threat. The threat is merely a bit stronger than the normal telepathic and telekinetic beings, which we have seen attempt several feats of the same powers in other X-Men movies. A take on Genosha and the inhabitants or something more grounded seems more attainable given the script's need to hold back on special effects and push drama. Sadly, the drama is skin deep and something you expect from an afternoon episode of a serialized show. The special effects were also largely hit and miss. Set pieces such as a super speed Quicksilver or the metal manipulations of Magneto are still impressive. Other feats like the aliens are largely forgettable. It goes without saying reshoots were plentiful and done with little time. I commend the artist for how put together the movie is given the constraints and other issues. Other factors hinder the movie's entertainment value, which could have been stylistic choices or poor post-production. Characters are injected into the plot with little to no care. Other villain henchmen are nondescript and pop up only in this movie without dialogue to give them personality or reason to care for them. The main antagonist is monotone in delivery, with unrealistic interest in the rights of human female rights, whole while being an alien who traveled the cosmos to Earth and was only involved in Earth politics and information for mere weeks. There's no attempt to hand-wave this away as being telepathy or using technology to try to manipulate Jean with subjects she would be influenced by due to the time period or some overarching women's rights struggle. It's showing that even the actors are curious about who exactly these aliens are, and furthermore, the script doesn't bring it to their attention even when they are standing right beside Jean. The script didn't make it apparent enough why Xavier couldn't defeat most of the aliens on his own. It assumed the aliens have similar powers to Jean, yet we never get characters to discuss or clarify the aliens' host of abilities, which seem to trigger when the plot demands. Xavier tried to read the aliens' minds and couldn't, or we are supposed to assume he can't read their minds. We are supposed to assume the aliens could not be put to sleep by Xavier like other humans because their physiology. Viewers just have to make up their own explanation based off the fact that maybe animals sometimes don't freeze in place when Xavier decides to use his powers, or some other contrived reason, which I'm sure other movies contradict. Several more head-scratching moments arise with characters purposely not using powers at certain points because the plot deemed it necessary. Issues like there were merely nitpicks that don't harm the enjoyment of the movie if you're willing to suspend your disbelief and stretch it across swaths of the production. Most locations also look like clear sound stages with few shots changes throughout the film that don't angle themselves for certain directions. Transitions from outside city blocks where a fight begins clearly stay within the city block for a sweeping portion of the fight. When the fight progresses inside a building, a blockade shuts off the scenery from behind, making the second setting all the more stage-like. It all comes off like actors were not in the same room or didn't have enough time to schedule quality reshoots for script modifications. Even the music is out of place, though greatly orchestrated and powerful. There are several reports that the ending and other scenes were changed to separate them from the original due to similarity to other Disney Marvel movies. Thankfully, the changes were not for the worst, since they still find a way to strike more fascinating set pieces than another space battle or a citywide fight. Even without the feeling of low energy involved in the movie's production, you still have the over $200 million budget, which makes this event, which feels like a TV show final episode, come off like people waiting for another chance or reason to use their special effects. The X-Men fight among themselves, so most battles are to the death and need bigger reasons behind risking lives in an all-out brawl in cities, unlike fights against common enemies like aliens, robots, or straightforward villains. Nothing synergizes with the film's plot, as you can't have huge characters die off due to their expected future show in other movies, nor can you expect another movie to correct any confusion brought about by this film. The issue of whether this movie even tracks with the timeline of other films is still debatable. The movie is a sad going out for such a healthy allegory to today's strife over diversity in films of outsiders among your own human race, due to ideals or things you won't back down from changing. X-Men just hasn't utilized its full potential for this film. However, even with the lackluster showing, the film is not a complete chore to watch. It moves at a brisk pace, and even with nonsensical leaps like a jet that can go into space in the 90s, the movie has fun scenes interlaced with the cast that offset the perplexing scenes. The Jean and Cyclops relationship is rushed yet decent. The actors get their point across. There's creative set pieces with trains and a fantastic visual of X-Men utilizing their powers to their utmost limits. Characters seem more trained than ever in how and when to use their powers as a team. The human element seems believable as people look up to the X-Men rather than condemning them for obvious attempts to help humanity in X-Men Apocalypse. The movie has a tone of hopefulness that, like the X-Plane, rises to show people will always try to mend wounds and come together. Even consistency is kept up sometimes, with characters utilizing their host of abilities in believable ways that fit their unique character traits. Nightcrawler is a nervous wreck as ever until pushed to better utilize his powers. He comes out of his shell in a rushed yet emotional scene that connects well to the character's religious undertones. Character consistency, like Magneto being cocky and unexpectedly underestimating of Jean as she tries to personally fight her at her own game, controlling metal material with his powers, was endearing. The movie has enough nice touches here and there that the movie isn't a complete failure. Dark Phoenix is another attempt to tell a classic comic story about a cosmic entity embedded into a human mutant. The attempt to sandwich this arc into a story that's so short is incredibly done poorly. It just isn't worth much given the bar set by hero movies such as Infinity War and Endgame. More is expected than a 90s movie-like production that throws years of useful superhero storytelling elements away before quickly putting out a taped-together plot of CG and minimal plot work for a movie in 2019. The final movie in a long-running franchise shouldn't feel so forgettable. Hopefully the next X-Men team will be more worthy of an acclaim as the prior movies were several years ago. 45%.